Hello everyone, welcome to Forever Cricket on Forever Sports. And Cricket South Africa has just announced the PROTEAS squad that will take part in the T20 World Cup in Dubai later this year. And I am absolutely fuming at the decisions that they have made. We've had so many years to try and get this squad right. So many years, so many months, so many T20s we've had in the last couple of months. And the direction that we've been going, we've suddenly taken a complete right and decided that we're actually not going in that direction. And we're going to go through the squad in a minute, and I want to know what you guys think about it down in the comments below. But before we do, please do smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. Let me know what you think of the squad. Now, the Proteas have just come off the end of the third ODI series in a row that we have not won. We drew the ODI series against Ireland. We've just lost to Sri Lanka in the ODIs, and we lost to Pakistan. T20s wise, we've just beaten we beat the West Indies and we beat Ireland. So T20s wise, in the last couple of months, we've been a lot better in terms of being able to get our T20 side winning and stuff like that. But after all that, and thinking that we need to start putting in our best players and stuff for the T20 World Cup, Cricket South Africa have decided to leave out FAF du Plessis, Imran Tahir, as well as Chris Morris. Now, we knew that Chris Morris was not going to be involved, so that does not come as a shock. For whatever reason, he has not closed his door on being part of the Proteas, but the Proteas have obviously closed the door on him. And, Graham Smith was basically trying to say that, he hasn't really performed in a South African shirt as much, which is, to a certain degree, is a little bit true. I think he was probably our best bowler and our best player during the World Cup, the ODI World Cup, back in 2019. But genuinely, he hasn't quite replicated the form that he can in the IPL than he has in a Proteas shirt. So whilst I don't necessarily agree with it, I can kind of understand a sort of argument there. To leave out Imran Tahir is a huge call. This is somebody who is still performing on the world circus. And then the most ludicrous call of all, no FAF du Plessis, who literally just scored a century in the CPL this week, retired from Test with a view of trying to focus on limited overs career and has since then been in exile for whatever reason and has not been included in the squad. It is an absolute joke of a decision. FAF du Plessis is one of the best limited over players we've ever had. Ever. If you look at his stats, you look at his statistics and stuff like that, he's one of the best limited over players we've ever had. But he doesn't make the squad. Now, AB de Villiers we knew wasn't going to be available. They had announced that. There was a big talk about it. And now some people are saying that, well, these players have played in previous World Cups and therefore they didn't do the job, so they can't include them. Absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. The last time FAF du Plessis played in a major event for South Africa was against Australia in the World Cup where he scored a century. He averages 50 in ODI cricket. He's got one of the best T20. He's one of the best T20 players in the world at the moment. He was phenomenal in the IPL last year in these conditions. And yet is not good enough to make the squad. So let's actually look at the squad. Let's sort of dissect it. Because that's the squad we have taken. Now, obviously, we knew that Temba Bavuma was going to captain. I actually don't have a problem with that. I know a lot of people don't like Temba Bavuma, but what frustrates you about Temba Bavuma is every single time you'll be talking about a T20 squad, and they'll say, but he's got an average of 13 test matches. What relevance that has, I've got no idea. Temba Bavuma averages 27-28 in T20 internationals across 16 T20 internationals with a strike rate of 130. He's captained the Lions locally to back-to-back domestic titles, and in this one, this last one, he played pretty well. I think he averaged about 50, but it was 2 years ago, so 2 seasons ago, during the T20 Challenge when Temba Bavuma almost single-handedly battered the Lions to a T20 win. So he's got the credentials. Captaincy-wise, he's captained to 2 major T20 trophies at domestic level. He's managed to replicate a lot of that form at Protea levels. He's got decent numbers. There's not an issue there. Please explain to me how Bjorn Fontaine, Heinrich Klaassen, and Reza Hendricks are in the squad, as well as, and I like him, Keshav Maharaj has basically not been playing any T20s for us whatsoever and goes to this team. We have listed George Linder, one of our primary players over the last calendar year in T20s, as a reserve. And Dina Petlikwai, who's been backed a number of times, now they decide to drop him. I don't understand the thinking here. It beggars belief. Look, I don't think Ndidi Petlikwai should be in the squad. But what is the point of having a 2 or 3 year build-up of using these players and having these players in the team if you're then going to just drop them as soon as it gets to the bloody World Cup? It's absolutely nonsense. So if you look at this, we look at the squad. Temba Bavuma, Quinton de Kock will be our opening partnership, and I'm very happy with that. Number 3 continues to be an issue, and that's where I would have loved to see FAF du Plessis walking in. It'll probably be Aidan Markham coming in. I think Taylor wants to go at the top of the order with Swinton Cock, and I don't mind that because those two bat very, very well together. And then Aidan Markham, almost as an auxiliary opener, comes in at 3. Number 4 will be Rassie van der Dussen, who has got phenomenal numbers across any format, so no issues there. But Reza Hendricks, I think, has been so inconsistent. I'm very surprised he makes the squad. Kesha Maharaj, I mean, we look at the T20s against Australia. Kesha Maharaj didn't play any of them. He literally did not play a single T20. I'm just trying to check, but I'm pretty sure, and I'm going through it, did not play a single T20 against the West Indies, which was, for me, probably like the penultimate series of that was going to sort of the final view of trying to sort of select our squad. Kesha Maharaj does not play a single match, gets picked ahead of George Linder. You know, Vian Mulder and David Miller, no issues there. I would have David Miller there as a second keeping option. I don't understand why Heinrich Klaassen continues to be back. We're going to look at the West Indies T20 series. David Miller, no issue there. Vian Mulder, you know, we probably prefer Chris Morris. But if you want to try and blood somebody young, then fine. I'm not quite sure he really does deserve it to be there just yet. Lungi Ngidi, no issues. Anand Nokia, no issues. Dwayne Pretorius, I think, is probably going to be one of our most important players. Because I think he's someone that's got the power hitting we've been looking for. You talk about Chris Morris. I think Dwayne Pretorius is the best all-rounder we've got in the country at the moment. I genuinely do. I think he's the best batsman in terms of being able to clear the boundary and being a big hitter. He was batting at 4 for Paul Rocks back in the Mzansi Super League in 2019. And he had some electrifying innings. I think he once came in and opened the bat, or he came in the top 4 for the Proteas once and scored a 70. So I've got no issues whatsoever with Dwayne Pretorius there. I think he's going to be a massively important player. Khisro Rabada, fine. Tabraiz Shamsi, fine. Rassie van der Dussen, fine. Let's look at the West Indies series, shall we? Now, Tabraiz Shamsi was phenomenal that entire series. Lungi Ngidi did struggle. But if we look across the series, someone like Bjorn Fontaine finds himself in this team ahead of George Linder. Okay, the first T20, the fifth T20, Bjorn Fontaine bowled 1 over for 11. The T20 before that, Bjorn Fontaine didn't play. T20 before that, Bjorn Fontaine did not play. The T20 before that did not play. And the T20 before that did not play. He played one match the entire T20 series against the West Indies and he bowled 1 over. In comparison, George Linder in the first T20 bowled 2 overs for 24. And he always opens the bowling. That's become a thing. In the second T20, opens the bowling, bowls 4 overs, 2 for 19, an economy of 4.75. The second lowest economy after Tabraiz Shamsi. The third T20, once again, opens the bowling, bowls 3 overs, 1 for 33, an economy of 11. Okay, not as great as performance. And doesn't chip in with anything with the bat. The fourth T20 we're at now. Once again, so he doesn't open the bowling because Aidan Markham opens the bowling. Bowls 4 overs, 2 wickets for 16, an economy of 4, and gets 6 from 6. And in the final T20, bowls 3, 1 for 30. So he had a pretty good T20 series against the West Indies. And the reason that Victor Mpitsang, who's the chief selector, gave for him not being part of the squad is his batting. And yet Bjorn Fontaine has been picked as an out-and-out bowler, having bowled 1 over in the last T20 series against the reigning world champions. It beggars belief. If you ask me, I'm making 4 changes to the squad. And I would be putting in George Linder for Keshav Maharaj. I'll be putting Imran Tahir in for Bjorn Fontaine. I'll be putting Faf du Plessis in for Heinrich Klaassen. I'll be putting Jan Milan in for Reza Hendricks. Those will be the 4 changes I would make. We know that Chris Morris was not going to be part of the setup. Somebody like Sasanda Magala, I think, is very unlucky not to be picked. I think I would have had him as a reserve ahead of Lizard Williams because he's the best death bowler in the country. He's been the best death bowler in the country for a number of years. And I think that his injuries have prevented him from selection, and I can understand that. But those are the 4 places. I don't understand how we can go and we can back Bjorn Fontaine, Reza Hendricks, Heinrich Klaassen, and Keshav Maharaj. I mean, Klaassen in the last T20 series against the West Indies, I'm not looking at Ireland. I'm sorry, I'm not looking at Ireland. It's me, but I'm not looking at Ireland. Scored. He did not play the 5th one. He got dropped. Before that, did not play the 4th one either. He pretty much didn't play from actually the looks of it. I think he played the first 2, if I'm not mistaken, and didn't score any runs. Yeah, 10 off 11 in the second T20, and in the first T20, 7 off 12, an economy of 58. That was Klaassen's contribution in the West Indies. I just don't think he's consistent enough to be part of the side, and I think that we've gotten this squad completely wrong. Obviously, when it comes to it, I will support them, and there's a lot of good players there. We've got the talent, but you can't go to the T20 World Cup without your best T20 players, and that's exactly what we've done. And maybe it's a case of taking players who haven't been around there and haven't maybe been part of the failures of the past and hoping that they can maybe, do something special. And maybe they can. Maybe, look, if everyone in this, we could put together a good 11, and if everyone comes up on their day, we can beat the best teams in the world. But you decrease your chance by not taking your best players, and that's my biggest frustration. But let me know what you think of the squad down in the comments below. Smash a like on the video. Do subscribe to the channel as well. Let me know what you think of the squad. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steven, and I'll chat to you soon.